Hey everybody, it's DDO players. We are at Gen Con 2021. We have made our way to the Czech's Game CGE room with the wonderful Rachel. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I am not bad. How are you doing with your Gen Con, and how's Gen Con for CGE so far?
Pretty good so far. Obviously, it's a different experience, but we're actually pretty happy. We've gotten extra space this year so we can demo relatively safely, and we've got a bunch of really cool new titles that haven't seen the light of day at a convention because it's been years now, so we have a backlog of stuff that we've done since the pandemic started that we're so excited to actually get in people's hands now and show face-to-face to people.
So can you give us just a little bit of brief history of CGE as a game company?
Absolutely. So yeah, CGE stands for Czech Games Edition, so naturally we are a Czech-based company. We have a small US branch which I am a part of. We were founded in 2007, actually with Galaxy Trucker was one of our flagship games. It's been around for a while. And that's partly why we're revamping it this year. You might also know us from Codenames, which is our most successful commercial game, which we released a few years ago. Or you might know us from Vlada Havatil, who's one of our most prominent game designers.
And then also last year you guys had the Lost Ruins of Arnak, which conveniently, I will pan up a little bit, is right behind us here.
It's gotten a terrific reception. We're really happy with it.
Yeah, you have the new expansion, which we'll talk about coming for that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Galaxy Truckers, because it's right here on the table in front of us.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, this game has been around since 2007, and since then, you know, we've created a really loyal fan base around it. But we at Czech Games Edition have learned a lot about making board games in the last 15 years, and the hobby itself has grown. It's huge now, and we thought it was time to kind of give a fresh coat of paint to an absolute classic to make it more affordable, accessible, and approachable for your average person just getting into board gaming. So the first big thing that's different between this and the original is the price is cut in half. The original retails for $60. This is $29.95. Smaller box. The rule book has been revamped to make it a little bit more readable for your regular person who's just getting into board games.
Okay.
So if you're unfamiliar with Galaxy Trucker, the quick pitch of the game is it's a 2 to 4 player, absolutely bonkers game about building a spaceship in real time and then chucking it out into space and watching it slowly get blown into bits.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a really fun, goofy game. You're going to spend the first round doing a real-time building phase where all at once everyone's going to take a hand and put it into this pile of components you see here. You're going to take a look at it, see if you want to put it on your ship, and if you do, you weld it down. If you don't, you return it to the pile face up. So other players at the table can decide if that's the exact piece they were looking for. They now know where it is. So you're all going to kind of frantically be building your ships, and there's several rules about how to legally build a ship. And I really like that because it makes it a little bit brain-burny as well as real time. It's a good balance.
Say there's a little bit of strategy in there too, as well as. Plus, you have the pressure of the real-time aspect as well, too.
Yeah,
so.
I really love it. It's such a unique experience, especially because the real-time element, it isn't a set amount of time. You actually have this timer in the middle here that you flip over once, and you let it run out. And once it's run out, anyone who wants to can flip it again. So it does 2 flips on the first flight. And it's kind of an interesting dynamic of if you think you're doing really well, you're going to want to flip it to put everyone else on a time pressure.
Right.
So every time you play Galaxy Trucker, the amount of time you have to build your ship is going to change depending on how aggressive the people you are that you're playing with. Anyways, that's the quick pitch about Galaxy Trucker. Once you've built your ship, you then send it out into space and we reveal random adventure cards to see what crazy stuff happens in space. And if you're lucky, you will return home with some cargo intact. And in Galaxy Trucker, if you make 1 space buck, you're a winner. But the person who makes the most space bucks wins more, which I think is kind of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the general idea behind Galaxy Trucker. Any questions about the basic gameplay before I tell you more about the new version?
Yeah, you said so those are all the piles are all like pieces of the ship?
Yep. So there's 3 different types of connectors in Galaxy Trucker. There's a single, there's a double, and then there's a universal. So you're going to be going around connecting pieces together, and there's a bunch of different parts. Like this is a cabin. Cabins hold 2 spacemen, which is really good. You need someone to pilot your ship. These are engines, which will propel you forward. The more engines you have, the faster you go, and there is kind of like a racetrack element of it, where there's an order of who's in first out in space. And being first is great because you have the first opportunity to land at planets and get cargo, but you also are the first person that asteroids hit when they come barreling down at you.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, there's other things like lasers to defend yourself, cargo holds to hold your cargo, all sorts of stuff.
And then you said there was like adventures that you go on as well too. You want to talk about those a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So these are 3 different levels of cards, and depending on what level you're playing, you're going to have a different assortment of cards.
Okay.
But you flip them over and they basically give you a random event that happens. This is the planets card. This gives you the opportunity to dock at a planet and, fill up on cargo. You have more hostile ones like meteor swarm. And the way the meteors or any projectile works is that they have like a directionality that's printed on them. So all 3 of these meteors are coming at you head on.
Oh, okay,
you
gotcha.
then roll 2 dice to see what column they're coming at, and then depending on what happens, parts of your ship might get blown off.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then is there any kind of like a take that aspect to it for like where you can kind of, for lack of a better term, like kind of screw over your opponents?
You can. It's not like the frontmost mechanic in Galaxy Trucker, but if you can get creative with it, so you can block people out of planets, you can try to pass people so that you get opportunities first, but it's not like the core of the game.
Okay.
The most like take that, honestly, is the building phase. If you take something that someone else wanted, even if it's not intentional, they might get mad at you.
Right, yeah.
And I kind of think unintentional take that is kind of nice for people who don't want to be overtly aggressive.
Right.
I think this is kind of the perfect game for that.
And what's the player count?
It's 2 to 4.
Okay. And average play time?
So the original game was actually an hour and a half. It was around 90 minutes. But we have trimmed it down so it's a half hour in this revamped version. You can still play the hour and a half version, and I can explain that if you want.
Sure, yeah.
But the core game is now 30 minutes. So in the original game, you would play 3 separate flights with 3 separate ships. So you've got your level 1 ship here, you got your level 2 ship, level 2 ship. Sorry, I've been talking.
Easy for you to say.
And then you open it up if I can get it. I always pick the wrong side first, and then you have your level 3 ship.
Okay.
And originally you play all 3 of those, and that's after all 3 of those.
Oh, gotcha.
And we've made it so that the game now works with just picking one flight as if it was a difficulty level. You can still do the 3-flight trek.
Okay, so yeah, if you want to. So
right, but it's built now to just pull it off the shelf, play half an hour of Galaxy Trucker, decide how hard you want the game to be.
Right, you can do level 1, 2, or you can do 3, or you can do them in order to do it. Gotcha.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. And this is available now?
Yep, as of today.
Okay.
It launched today at Gen Con, and it should also be available in friendly local game stores today as well.
All right. Anything else you want to say about Galaxy Truckers?
Other things I want to say. I just want to say, if you have the original Galaxy Trucker and you love it, we do, of course, this is a Blackjack game. We would never publish something unless it had more content in it. So there actually is extra gameplay components that we add on to this. So in that, what we call the transgalactic trek, when you play all 3 flights in a row, there's actually a new gameplay mechanic called the title tiles, which incentivizes you to build your ship in a certain way. I don't have to go into it too much now, but just know that if you love this game, I honestly think these are a huge, huge incentive to get the new copy, because they add just a fun gameplay twist. They make the transgalactic trek feel more continuous. I just really, really like that.
Excellent.
And the quality is nicer. All the components have been upgraded. The art is different.
Yeah, I can say the art is it stands out just looking at it here on the table. And
it's very different from the original art. We really wanted to make it feel more approachable and goofy.
And new, right? Yeah, I'm gonna say kind of new, like you said earlier, for like newer players to the board game hobby.
Right.
This is a little more approachable for them, right?
Exactly. Approachability is a big thing. That's why the rulebook is a lot smaller. The game just looks brighter and friendlier, smaller, more affordable, all that stuff.
Excellent. All right. And then the Lost Ruins of Arnak, you got that expansion that's out. You want to talk about that?
Unfortunately not out.
Oh, okay. Coming out. Okay.
Yes, we are doing special ticketed playtests of it. It's actually still in development now. We're still fine-tuning stuff, so unfortunately I can't show it to you yet. But that will be launching at Essen, and then hopefully coming to the U.S. holiday time, hopefully, maybe. But it's really fantastic. Are you familiar with the original?
Yes.
Arnak? Okay.
Yep.
So this expansion, basically, the big thing in the expansion is that it introduces asymmetry. So everyone gets a leader that they play as, and that comes with a unique player board, a unique deck that you start out with, and unique gameplay rules. So some of the leaders start out with a different number of explorer meeples that they can use, and they all cater to a very different play style. And I think it's Min and Elwyn. It's a fantastic implementation, and if you love Arnak and you've played it enough that you're looking for something more, the expansion is really fantastic. It also comes with an extra research track that you put on the board that has double-sided, so 2 completely new research tracks, new cards, new guardians, new locations, all that stuff.
And you said that was coming out Essen, hopefully?
Yeah, Essen hopefully,
Okay.
and then in the U.S. around the holiday season, but we'll see. It's still in development, but that's the plan.
Okay, excellent. And then that, does it add more players, or is it the same player
It's the same
count
player
for that?
count to my knowledge, unless that changes.
And does it change play time at all for the game, or about
Not
same
really.
play time?
Same play. I mean,
The biggest thing it adds is the leaders, correct?
yeah, is that asymmetry and those different play styles.
Right, okay. All right, perfect. Is there any other games from CGE that you kind of want to highlight? Because I mean, I know you guys have a ton of stuff.
We do. I'll briefly show you. This is Under Falling Skies, which I'm going to tell you about it, and then you're going to be sad because it's really hard to get right now because everyone wants it and stock is low. But hopefully in the next couple months, it'll be more readily available. This is our dedicated solo game. So it is a game about a mysterious space invasion, alien invasion coming down to Earth, and humanity has chosen you and you alone to figure out how to deal with it. And it's got this gorgeous long board right here.
Oh wow, that does look amazing.
It has the most gorgeous table presence. It's beautiful.
It looks it just from the box.
Yeah. I love the color scheme. I love it. Down here you've got your base where you're going to be rolling dice and making really tough decisions about where to place them. Up here you've got modular sky pieces, so you can flip these over to increase the difficulty in a modular way, which I think for a solo game is really great.
Oh yeah.
And then you've got this motherboard, chipboard piece that's going to slowly be descending upon you and releasing alien ships down on very Space Invaders.
Right, yeah. I was just about to say, that's Space Invaders type, yeah.
It's fantastic. I mean, the core of the game, which is this puzzle of deciding where to put your dice, is so simple, it gets so difficult, which is, for a solo game, I think is so fantastic to have a really elegant but meaty puzzle.
Definitely, oh yeah.
So the basic idea is you roll dice at the start of your round and you place them in different rooms. And typically, the higher number on the dice, the better, because it increases the value of that room. If you put
that makes sense.
In an energy room, great, you get 6 energy. But you'll see that there's these columns here. So if you put your die with like the 6 number here, great, this room is now worth 6, but all the aliens in that row descend 6 towards you.
Oh wow,
so it's a game about deciding, is this worth
I'm gonna say, is it worth
doom in, like coming at me faster
to
get this higher value out of this room. It's really fantastic.
That totally makes sense. And when is that going to be available?
So it's available now. It's just a little tricky to get.
It's just kind of hard to get right now.
We're hoping to increase its availability in the next couple months.
Okay. All right, and that was Under Falling Skies. And can you play it with more people than just one, or is it?
Of making tough decisions and agreeing with another person, it actually is a great co-op game to do that together. But it is designed to be a uniquely solo experience.
That is awesome. That it's like designed to be solo.
Yeah, it's not a game that like can be solo. This is designed as one person. Solo, It also has a campaign mode where you like defend different cities and different characters come out. It's great.
That sounds amazing, actually.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm not a solo gamer, and this is the one game that honestly captures my interest, so highly recommend it. Even if you're not into solo games, if you're alone during quarantine, it's really great.
I'm going to say, that's a perfect time for that game right now, actually.
Definitely.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. And what's the website for CGE that people can go to?
Czechgames.com, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope so.
Perfect, and you're on all the social. I'll put links down in the description of the video.
One question I should probably be answering. I believe it's Czechgames.com.
That's all right. I will put links all down in the description of the video so you can find all of these games and more over at the CGE website.